is like, you really should always tune into creators, especially if they're on the left, who like at least attempt to bring on union organizers, right? Who are attempting to bring on like immigrant rights work, people do immigrant rights work, actual trans people who are either covering or in the crosshairs of the current anti-trans legislation. Like that.
In this video, we continue our hard-hitting coverage of the catfight heard around the world between Ana Kasparian and Francesca Fiorentini. In this clip, Francesca Fiorentini elaborates on why she thinks Ana Kasparian is unhappy at TYT and that TYT is on the brink of failure. With that, let's watch, hopefully, the final chapter in the heated feud between Ana Kasparian and Francesca Fiorentini.
Up the fact that this was going to expand. And I believe you referred to the Chinese Exclusion Act from back in the 1800s. Then, lo and behold, Donald Trump comes out and he cites the Alien Invasion Act of 1798, an even more obscure, more discriminatory, more opaque policy that's going to allow him to do what FDR did to Japanese Americans during World War II, one of the biggest black stains in American history. Like, you were 100% right to call that out. He 100% poured cold water on it. He tried to make you look like a crazy lefty then, and he has never run a single correction about it. He also has.
I know. And like, look, I want to just be clear. Like when I said, he was like, oh, you think there's going to be camps? That's so insane. And then it's because I had read an article. They were, there are a lot of undocumented Chinese American or Chinese people in this country, not Americans, but Chinese people living in this country. And I, I don't think I should have done this, but I was like, those are my people. My mom's Chinese, right? Immigrated here when she was 10. And so I was sort of like trying to appeal to like maybe his personal, like, and I think it didn't land because he thinks that like we're protected. Like, are you kidding me? No, we're talking about them. So he laughed in my face because he sort of thought that I was trying to victimize myself, which I wasn't. I was just trying to like tell you that like these are communities that I know that are, that have helped build this country.
That's
weird. That's so weird.
Okay, now we're good. Sorry, guys. Just pretend that didn't happen. We're rocking and rolling again.
Okay, sorry. I was touching things with my elbow. I'm in obviously a different setup. I look like I got kicked out of my own home studio, but just because Matt had to use the other studio, I look like I got fired from TYT. Now I got to be in a different studio. No.
We were hoping that you would show up with a rucksack, maybe outside on, like a crossroads on a dirty town,
I wish we could just be silly about this. I'm literally streaming right now.
No, it didn't work? Is the mic?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Oh, all right.
Bye.
I'm watching on a delay.
Oh yeah, Matt's a fan.
Oh hell yeah! Well, that's great to hear.
I think the real thing is like, what's upsetting to me is, I don't think Cenk is actually in touch with some of the communities that are in the crosshairs of Trump's policies at all. I don't think he's been in touch with them for decades, and I don't think he cares to be in touch with them. Right? There are many organizations right here in Los Angeles I get notifications on my phone right now. There are ICE raids going on in neighborhoods not so far away from here, right? I'm going out doing some Know Your Rights, pamphleting on Sunday, trying to organize some people around me. Like, they don't care about those folks. They don't care about giving them a platform. There are many organizations who are doing amazing work. They don't care. And in part because I think Cenk thinks because he got booted from his own organization, Justice Democrats, he's done with activists. Fuck them. Like, there's a lot of...
Can you guys believe it? There are ICE raids going on around where Francesca Fiorentini lives. Yeah, you mean the exact things that Donald Trump said he was going to do on the campaign trail, and now he's following through on that promise, and those promises were endorsed by the American people voting him into office in a landslide victory. You mean those ICE raids? When I hear there are ICE raids going on around me, I think, good. Why haven't there been more? He's using the Alien Invasion Act. So discriminatory. It's going to put people in internment camps like they did to the Japanese. These are just fear-mongering nutbags. Do we not right now have an alien invasion going on in this country that was absolutely emboldened by the Biden administration, who, when we see now how easy it was for Trump to close down the border, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to say that Joe Biden and his administration absolutely did not care about illegal immigrants coming to this country. And all the talk about, hey, we can ship in more Democrat voters because we'll give them a bunch of free stuff. Most of you watching probably agree that's part of the Democrats' plan. And whereas before, you might understand why someone would say, come on, it's not that deep. That's a conspiracy. Now, is there really any arguing with the fact that that's absolutely what the Democrats want to do? What else do they have? They're running out of voters. People are fleeing that party like crazy. Even people that hate the Republican Party are going independent or just disassociated with the Democrat Party. So, yeah, this is an alien invasion that we're experiencing. Oh, and I like how she said something about like, there are a lot of undocumented Chinese people here, and these are my people. I've never once in my life called someone of any skin color my people. If you're an American, you're my people. That's one of the many reasons that people like these idiots and the left overall will never fully get their shit together, because they all have their own people that they consider their people. They don't care about everyone in the country. They care about their own little projects. And inevitably, as you've seen all the infighting and the left eating itself, their own little pet projects start to come into conflict with one another, and then they're trashing one another. Not all Democrat voters, but people in the media, commentators, the leadership of the Democrat Party, they're really just selfish, unhappy people that desperately need to be outraged all the time. I don't know what the pathology is behind that, because I can't fathom going through life just looking for things to be upset about all the time. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
History of Cenk feeling burned by, activists who dared say, hey man, some of your old tweets make us look like garbage and their funders don't like it. So we love you. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much history there. But the point is like, you really should always tune into creators, especially if they're on the left, who like at least attempt to bring on union organizers, right? Who are attempting to bring on like immigrant rights work, people do immigrant rights work, actual trans people who are either covering or in the crosshairs of the current anti-trans legislation. Like, that's how you know. And they don't. They truly don't. Meanwhile, they'll go to the RNC. Rudy Giuliani walks by and like, hey, buddy, how's it going? Let me give you a softball interview. It's just like, it's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I guess my final question for you, Francesca, I don't know if Zach has any left, but the one thing I did want to ask you about is just like, we talk about how TYT is crashing and burning and how they're probably not making enough money to really stay viable as a business. What do you think the future holds for TYT? And trust me, I don't want the, innocent people working there, Bert and Ernie or whoever the fuck, I don't want them to get fired and lose their job. So when we cheer on the the downfall of this network, it's really about the Cenk and Anna's ideology and the way they've treated you, the way they've smeared people like Benjamin Dixon, Emma Vigeland, et cetera, right? Just to clarify. But do you think that we're kind of on point when we make those predictions? Do you think that it is possible that TYT really is circling the drain, and part of the reason why Cenk and Anna are acting the way they're acting is because they're panicked?
I mean, I think what's crazy about what's happening is you see the full Kasparianization of TYT and Cenk Uyghur's brain. It's like, she, for many different reasons, is, she's kind of black pilled, and she is, and I think Cenk at some points is an actual, or thought he was, a progressive. I think he thought he was. But I also think that the reason I say the election broke his brain is because I think these are two very, very egomaniacal people who, again,
offensive. Brain broken. That's, I don't know.
Yeah, brain broken. Racial slur. They don't have a tether to movement organizing, to, again, I don't know who their mentors are politically. They don't really have a tether, and they don't seem to care. And the more they are gently either called in about an issue or outwardly called out, however it is done, whether it's inside the organization or outside the organization, they only react. They are like wild feral animals. They cannot incorporate that. Cenk took great offense when I talked to Mondale Robinson about like, can't you learn
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
from us? And it's like, yeah, buddy, because we are literally, I've learned from Cenk. I sit there and listen to him, scream for 15 minutes on a 20-minute segment, and I get 2 minutes of that. You know what I mean? Like, we sit there and we listen to you, right? You have incredible sway, but who do you listen to? And do those contributors who you have on your show actually enrich it, or are they just there to kind of like sort of pad out your monologues? Like, what's going on here? And so every time I have someone on my show, I learn from them. That's why I have them on the show. You're supposed to learn from people around you. That's sort of what like being politically curious is. Seems like he's only curious when it comes to Charlie Kirk, where his mind's at, right? What, you know, that's when Cenk is curious, is what's Jillian Michaels think? What does Dr. Phil think? Let's listen to them, but let's listen to none of the people that I used to call my allies, who used to be on my network, right? I mean, it's just like, I've done it. That's why I said I've done it privately. I've done it publicly. I've done it nicely. I've done it cruelly. Like which way? You know, this, you're barking up the wrong tree over here. Pivot, pivot, pivot. And he takes that as like me being draconian, guys. You and I, we're imposing our will. And once again, old Gen X man thinks internet is real and is.
She just said there, Cenk thinks the internet is real. Now, I can't speak for Cenk, maybe he does, but the fact that Francesca Fiorentini thinks any, and I mean any, of the policies that she supports will ever be embraced by normal Americans suggests to me that she has to believe the internet is real, because no one anywhere besides the internet agrees with or even cares about her delusional views of the world. Unfortunately, I've had to watch a lot of progressive clips because I do this. Another thing that's just crazy, another thing that just shows the lack of self-awareness on this woman. She said something like, at TYT, they only react. I've literally made note 1,000 times after watching her just spew her nonsense that people of her ilk are the most reactionary, emotional, outraged whiners that never offer solutions, except things like, you may have seen other videos I've done with her, that it would be fine for Usain Bolt to sprint against women. It would be fine for Floyd Mayweather to box against women. She gets invited on Piers Morgan Uncensored sometimes, and I just can't believe the confidence she has in her beliefs, when without fail, every time she's on there, she is like the butt of the joke. I know for a fact that Piers only has her on there because she's going to say something stupid, which will be a good clickable viral moment. And when I say like no one's listening to what they're talking about, or even talking about the things they're talking about, this is a very small example, but earlier one of the two femboys said something like, I mean, it's crazy the way TYT smeared people like Benjamin Dixon. I don't have a clue who that is, a clue. And I bet if you polled definitely average Americans, it would be less than 1% who knows who the hell that is. I'm not even going to look up that person's name because I guarantee they're irrelevant. But in their very, very small little bubble, I'm sure that's someone important. But the fact they threw out a name like that as if it's somebody that holds a lot of weight in the political landscape is just hilarious. I gotta admit though, as much as I'm irritated by this, I do find myself smiling a lot while I'm talking about this. And I think one of the things is this, I am fascinated by human beings. The fact that these people really think anything they're doing is impacting politics in this country whatsoever is just a riot to me. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
Like trying to tone police him. Like this is the same story of everyone, right? And so I don't know where they go, but I do know that like they're going to definitely, this is going to come to a head between them, because you can't isolate everyone around you. You can't piss off everyone around you before actually eating your own. That's going to happen. Or they're just going to get a cash infusion or whomever they need to take money from. I really don't know. I mean, I think the other thing to know is like,
please give us another Polymarket sponsorship, or else we're going to have to declare bankruptcy. Like that's where we're headed. Because as you mentioned, their members are leaving in mass. It's not just one or two people. Like their subscribers are going down, their members are going down. I watched the TYT main show more than I would like to admit, and they have no fucking defenders in their chat. Almost no one is actually.
It's a lot of hate watchers.
And it's a lot of hate watchers, or people that are just kind of like passively watching it without actually giving a fuck, seemingly. Like there's no passion. That you have 10 times as many passionate supporters and loyal fans, even though your channel has 150,000 subscribers and theirs has
As much as I'd like to keep talking about these morons, I guess I should talk about the idea of TYT failing. This is the one thing I think they're correct about. It doesn't seem like they're bringing enough revenue to run an operation as large as TYT right now. I do think they are losing support, subscribers, viewers because of how unhinged their viewers are, and TYT placated them for a long time. But now that they've injected, and again, it's not a lot, but a small amount of common sense into some of their commentary, that's how crazed their viewers are. And I guess they can just go to watch any of these people that are on the screen right now if they want someone just tell them how there are 400 genders and kids should have trans surgeries. So I think it's a strong likelihood that TYT does collapse somehow. Of course, I have no idea of the time frame. I just have no idea what their financial situation's like. But I know that TYT has found funding in the past. But I've always been shocked by the fact that anyone would invest money into any progressive program whatsoever, be it TYT or idiots like these three. And I think now, as a progressive network or channel, is possibly the worst time to run around looking for investors, because the left wing's embrace of these people was a huge contributor to why Donald Trump won so convincingly in the last election. But we want to hear from you. What do you think about this feud between Francesca Fiorentini and Ana Kasparian / TYT and Cenk Uygur? And do you think TYT is on the verge of collapse? And if not, what do you think will keep them afloat? Do they have more money than I realize? Do you think they'll gain more viewers? Or do you think there will just be some progressive lunatic out there that will add a cash infusion to their giant operation? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.